the legislature. If you spend $10 million on a government project, which institution funded it? It also lends credence to some of the things people have said, that some of the money hitting the budget. For example, they're spending $1 million for Foya Hospital. What's the population of Foya? $1 million for Foya Hospital, but there are more people in Basel. There are more people in Magidi. You know, so how do you allot money? There's a lot more money being spent for Kolahun Hospital. And there is also money being spent for Current Hospital in Zozo. So this year's budget spending almost $2 million on hospitals in Foya. Are they getting those money, in Lofa, are they getting those money to go back for it and spend on other projects? It raises a lot of questions, and we've been asking those questions. But I personally, and we from the MPC, will respect Boyka. If Boyka came out and said, that project in Foya, because he said it will be used for Mano River. Now let's face it, Mano River project. Mano River doesn't go to places like Foya. Why would they come to Monrovia and drive 15 hours to go to Foya? Doesn't make any sense. Let Boyka use that place. If it is not for him, let him use it as a housing estate. Let him give it to the citizens of Foya and let them own it. Let it be their benefit from the government, since it's already built and we can't cancel it. Let it be a public housing estate, giving through a selection process to people that will live in them. Then we know Boyka is clear. Boyka also said after he leaves, he's going to go to Foya to retire. You were vice president for 12 years. You didn't build anything for yourself? Your budget was about $2 million to $3 million a year. If you multiply that by 12 years, you're talking about $24 million that went through your hands. So what happened with that money? Nobody really asks those kinds of questions, but today he blames other people conveniently. How can the president of Liberia, people serve at the will and pleasure of the president? Now the president say, I didn't know about it, they bill it. Mr. President, who are the day? And we say, fire those days, turn them over to the Anti-Corruption Commission and the Ministry of Justice, and pass the housing estate over to the people of Foya, let them populate it. Then we know your hands are clean. But you can't come and give a cheap answer, you go quiet. This thing had lingered for almost a year. 1 year later at the end, now the president has the courage to discuss this issue, and he said, oh, he didn't know about it. Those kinds of cheap answers don't flow. But you know, this is a message to the people of Liberia. When we keep electing crooks, we keep electing looters under the canopy of these reasons, we'll always get these outcomes. Boyka was already retired. The old man couldn't even walk straight. Now you see he can even jog. Oh, somebody was joking and saying, when you see the man's face nowadays, he looks so different. We enabled Boyka and gave him a retirement job. So as a result, his priorities are shown. Show me where has Boyka done anything substantive in any way. And what do? The other day, they gave what? I think 15 pickles or 24 pickles or something to what they call it, LDEA, and the president goes to lead that. No government official should have gone to even do that. But that's how it is. Spend $10 million on a 4-year project for his private retirement. Spend maybe about $300,000 on a DEA because everybody marched against drug. Then the presidency. Then the president goes and ride NTA buses. Some people say it's 15, some people say it's 26. I'm also bringing 26 buses to the country in 2026 to lower cost of transportation. What this is showing is that you don't need a government to be in these sectors. A government needs to focus on key regulatory issues that create jobs. So this whole 4-year thing exposes Boyka greatly, and you know, sometimes it's so difficult to manage a law, especially when it's a corrupt law. So all of the questions that needed to be asked can be asked. The other day they were parading, what's the girl name from Oponstam, what's the girl's name? Fenabono, that she stole and what have you. Those were all distractions, but you see the 4-year project is not going away. People still asking, as a president, give it to the people of Foya, identify who are those people in your government that have access to 10 million. Let's see where they got that money from. You have the power to fire them, turn them over to Anti-Corruption Commission, let them be prosecuted.
Foundation, he sending me notes. And then he sent this note and called, and then in the note they said President Obama. And so then somebody is telling me, why you always call George President? I said, I don't even like to talk to people like you. He said, why? I said, because we're not writing to people like you. I said, I got 3 different degrees. I've been meeting people globally. And in their mind, they know I'm on their level. That's why they're talking to me. If you went there, you got to wait in the car. I'm not talking to you on my page. Just find something else to do. I'm talking to President George. Didn't you watch the inauguration? Before they inaugurated this man called Donald Trump. Before they inaugurated him, they announced all the presidents called him president. People were asking me, did not watch that. Here comes President Bill Clinton. Here comes President George Bush. Here comes President Obama. They were naming those people elect systematically until they all took their seat before they announced the president-elect. And people are here having even written in a paper on their own wall, when they post pictures, and they are telling you, don't call George president. You have a problem. And if you are pathetic, I'm not a doctor. You got to do psychology. But again, the world is getting better now. It's getting better because people like you in a whole different generation are here. You're ready to compete, to face them. You're not ready to fight them, but you face them, you use your mouth, your intelligence on them. There are a whole group of generation around called the Gen Z. I think some of you in our group, most of you. And these Gen Z are different groups. Recently on the Zoom talking leadership science, and we're talking about the piece of leadership. We were talking about them. Those people feel so very, very comfortable and controlling. If you study them, they feel they're doing you a favor. But it's a different generation. If you gotta adopt them or you let them go. Another group before them, the millennium.
To fragment the ports is so that Yombli can get the Buchanan port, which she already controls, by having her guy Kaipe there. You're sitting now, you're thinking, oh, yeah, decentralization of the port is a good thing, and blah, blah, but you don't know this. This is the plan. So, when the government wants to concession an asset now, that lawmaker we can say, that how we running the country now, that lawmakers and the family members of lawmakers we can send to go negotiate. A law has not been passed, and yet you are already engaging and receiving money to fund this whole process from a group that it has a history of buying elections for crooked African politicians. Fellow Liberians, I have the evidence. When I publish it, you will see. Cooper is there. She's working with Yombli on this deal. The plan is, the moment the president passed this thing into law, then they will have control now over the Buchanan port, absolute control now, because it was supposedly be independent. The next thing you know, they're going to concession it out. 25, 30 years. Then we're going to start crying again about what's happening here at APA. They're going to run it. They're going to make millions and millions of dollars, and Yombli is going to be all right.
Across this country, with everything I have, CMC will end corruption, not reduce it, not manage it, end it. CMC will create jobs, real jobs, jobs that let you provide for your family with dignity. CMC will build roads that connect our farmers to markets, roads that connect our children to school. CMC will put medicine in hospitals, so no mother ever has to watch her child suffer because some politicians stole the health budget. CMC will unite this nation. No tribe left behind. Competence over connection. One Liberia for all Liberians. But I cannot do this alone. CMC cannot do this alone. This movement, this revolution, it belongs to you. You, the student who dreams of a better future. You, the mother who prays for her children every night. You, the father who sweat feeds this nation. You, the professional who is embarrassed by what Liberia has become. You, in the diaspora, who left because Liberia failed you, but whose heart never left home. This is your movement. This is your movement. This is your Liberia. So I'm asking you, no, I'm calling you to join us. Join CMC. Not because we have all the answers, but because together we are the answer. Sign up, volunteer, donate what you can, share this message to your neighbors. Be the change you have been waiting for. 2026, the year of change. The year we stop waiting. The year we start to build. The year we take back what is ours. Liberia first, citizens empowered. As a Liberian who lost this country with everything I have, CMC will end corruption, not reduce it, not manage it, end it. CMC will create jobs, real jobs, jobs that let you provide for your family with dignity. CMC will build roads, roads that connect our farmers to markets, roads that connect our children to school. CMC will put medicine in hospitals, so no mother ever has to watch her child suffer because some politicians stole the health budget. CMC will unite this nation. No tribe left behind. Competence over connection. One Liberia for all Liberians. But I cannot do this alone. CMC cannot do this alone. This movement, this revolution, it belongs to you. You, the student who dreams of a better future. You, the mother who prays for her children every night. You, the father who sweat feeds this nation. You, the professional who is embarrassed by what Liberia has become. You, in the diaspora, who left because Liberia failed you, but whose heart never left home. This is your movement. This is your movement. This is your Liberia. So I'm asking you, no, I'm calling you to join us.
I don't know if you can see all on your screen, but we like to say welcome to the round table. Today is Tuesday, January 6th, 2025, and it's a great honor to be on your screen tonight. What is it on our list for our talking points? Let me shortly see if I can mount this light. I gotta be, I gotta be good. Yeah. So what is it on our talking point for tonight? We literally gonna be looking at few few talking points tonight. The first we has to do with the issue coming in from the Venezuela situation there and our country own statement and position on the situation. We'll talk about that. And look into a trending video on social media, which have led to, the DA releasing some statements. We will talk about that in a JVIT, and also look into a situation there with the LEC as well. So let me say good evening to all of you, and thanks for joining us on WES Television. My name is William McGill. Let me say good evening to my friend and brother James. Good evening and welcome from my GV James.
Yeah, so thank you so much. It is again good to be here. I think I would feel so great to form part of such a great platform that keep educating the minds of Liberians, and not just educating but also contributing in the transformation and shaping the mind of our country. So we are proud, and we again want to be grateful to the management for having us on here, so that we can be a part of the transformation of Liberia. I know all of us have a role to play, and this is some of the role that we are doing as part of our own efforts in making Liberia better. So it's good to be here. So
Okay. It's a great initiative, James. Uh, how's Mark Gibby with you, my brother?
yeah, so Magibi is good. As you may be aware, we won our game. We qualified for the next stage of the national counting meet. So that in fact has intensified. Yeah, that has intensified, the high gear or the spirit of the sporting activity here when it comes to the counting meet. Just while coming over here to the studio, I saw the mobilization team from the Magibi Sport Association. They were in the street, also getting support from citizens, and residents of Kakata. So they are doing that so that they can contribute. The guys can contribute to the team for the next stage of the county meet. So it is a happy mood here, and we can see that everyone are excited about the performance of their, both the boys and that of the girls team as well. I think you're muted. We're not getting you.
I'm saying I hope your men will not do something that the men will say they can receive their money in time.
Yeah, so that has been a case for McGivy, but I don't think this time around that is going to happen, because from all of their previous match I've played, I think it has been going well with them. We haven't seen a lot of haul and pull here and there about payment.
Okay. Can we play the speech from the United Nations Security Council urgent meeting on the situation with Venezuela, and then we can move on from there, James?
Yeah, I think we can have it. Like our own.
And it was right after what Chana said. Okay, let me play this. People say I'm not coming through clearly, but I will set that once I'm done with
But I think you're
this.
okay.
Okay. Um.
愿同地区国家和国际社会一道，加强团结合作。
And listened carefully to the remarks offered by civil society representatives. We also welcome the representative of Venezuela and the representatives of the region to this meeting. Mr. President, the A3 aligns itself with the recent communique of the African Union on the situation in the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela and continues to monitor developments there with deep concerns. In particular, we note reports regarding the detention of President Nicolas Maduro and his wife, and incidents involving Venezuelan institutions. Such developments present serious challenges not only to Venezuela's internal stability, but also underscore the imperative to safeguard the broader peace and security of the region. The A3 remains steadfast in its commitment to the fundamental principles of international law, including the full respect for the sovereignty and territorial integrity of states as enshrined in the Charter of the United Nations, in the interest of regional stability and international peace. We believe these are essential foundations for international cooperation and peaceful coexistence. Our position underscores the importance of dialogue, the peaceful settlement of disputes, and respect for constitutional and institutional frameworks. Mr. President, the complex situation in Venezuela requires a comprehensive response that is both inclusive and nationally owned. We continue to hold that a sustainable and peaceful resolution can only be found through constructive dialogue among Venezuelans themselves, with genuine respect for the aspiration and rights of the Venezuelan people, and with the constructive support of the international community. The A3 expresses its solidarity with the people of Venezuela and reiterates the African Union and mutual respect, both within Venezuela and in the broader international community, to exercise restraint and respect, upholding international law, and avoiding any action that could escalate tension or threaten regional stability. The A3 stands ready to support all efforts within this council and in cooperation with regional partners to facilitate a peaceful, inclusive, and lasting resolution to the situation in Venezuela. I thank you.
I thank the representative of Liberia for the statement, and now give the floor to the representative of the United States.
That is it right there, James. You listen to the Liberian speech from the ambassador to the United Nations, and he said what he should have said for the country.
Yeah, so I think Liberia own statement making it on behalf of the E3 nations, that is the African nations. I think the message was actually cleared. A lot of folks has been having issue with Liberia own stand. Some people have been saying, well, Liberia and the US, have a relationship, and some of these statements will actually have effect on that relationship that they have. But again, for me, I don't see it that way, because remember Liberia recently won the seat on the non-permanent position at the United Nations. So Liberia now standing the gap, or should be standing the gap for African nations or nations around the world to voicing out some of those issues, those concerning issues when it comes to security. I think Liberia, stand that position to doing so. So the case with Venezuela, I think yes, that was something that Liberia needed to have done. In fact, if no country would have done it, Liberia was best suited to doing so because um, Liberia is representing the African nations right now, and so there's a burden that lies on us as a country. So the statement from Louis Brown that was yesterday, he made it clear that dialogue should be the way, respect for human dignity, and that's one of the things that I think the U.S. need to look out to because every country now, they are all independent country on their own. So anything that may happen there, I think there's a way in which to solving that problem instead of just going and grabbing somebody from here that will even pose some security threat to that country because if the head of the state is not there, who knows that maybe the military or whosoever could say, well, we are going to take over. There are other countries that have been happening. So I think dialogue is one of the way forward. And that was one of the things that in the message of Liberia that it pushed for. And we can safely say that yes, Liberia now, years back, they were not, making some case for African nation, but I think they can use this position on the non-permanent position at the United Nations to at least voice out for other nations that are struggling, mainly when it comes to security issues, right? So the statement was very clear, and for me personally, I I appreciate the minister. I mean, the ambassador rather. He's somebody that sounded very clearly, and he was pushing the case for Africa, not just Venezuela, but he was talking about the Africa as a whole, and I think that's what Liberia should be doing.
Okay. Basically, for me, I feel like Liberia was the ambassador to the United Nations. Ambassador Brown was more careful as to what to say, and because is a security situation, so he was very mindful to statements being made at that emergency meeting. That's one. Number two, in as much as it is something of political and security money, I want to be careful how I make statement
Mhm.
here is solely on me and not the institution. Our views from ourselves, right? So I would say that I feel that President Trump is more of trying to exercise a power. Like we all understand that, yeah, America is the world superpower. America is the greatest nation in the world. America is the world superpower. So I feel like this is not the first time that the U.S. under this president is jumping into another country's security situation. We witnessed
Yeah.
that with Nigeria, and I told someone we were arguing, I was like, Nigeria is an independent country. Nigeria do have a government. And don't you think the government can handle the current situation between Muslims and Christians? And the person was
Hmm.
like, no, Trump did well. If they can be kidding Christian. I was like, that's their politics. That's the way the people feel they can do their own politics. Why is the opposition using the Muslim to go against the Christian? Because they want to tarnish the current government reputation, and the current government or the current president is a Muslim, and it says that the Muslims are killing the Christian because the current president is a Muslim. These are things we
Yeah.
need to take into consideration. Like President Trump, I feel like if I could have said or I could have said anything to him in person one on one, I would tell him bluntly that he's overreacting and overusing his power as president of the United States to interfere into other countries' politics, to interfere into other countries' security matter. And we understand that security issue in any nation is critical, is cardinal, and should be looked at thoroughly. You can't just jump into it because you feel like you have the power to. You should jump into it
Yeah.
because you can be able to help. You can be able to help the situation. I think the situation with Venezuela is something that President Trump should have seen thoroughly and found some other remedy. But they said that in fact he has been one source of transporting narcotics or drugs into the US. And because of that, he's wanted under the US law. You can say all of these things and capturing another president, another independent country president, not like the Somaliland is struggling for independence. You can do that. You can do that. In as
Right.
much as we as people, we as African, we as black descendants respect the US, respect the power the US have. We also have the right to make our own choices. We also
Cool.
have the right to be able to look at how we can handle our security situations in our country. If we need assistance from the US or these countries need assistance from the US, they'll be able to call on them. They would definitely be able to call on them. So I think
And I think that's why Liberia said dialogue could be one of the way, because let's say if the US wanted to maybe make assistance to any other country, right? The best way to do that is that you got to work in line with that country, government. You got to work in line with the government in setting, so that you can solve whatever problem that maybe you are observing. Because let's agree that America is the world superpower. Let's agree for the fact. So there are some issues that they may see that you and I may not be seeing in our own country. They can say as far as there, they will see some things happening here that we may not even see, maybe as citizens, right? But then the way in which to go about resolving that, I don't think it have to be about maybe violence and all the stuff. It got to be a dialogue, something that, cooperation. Yeah, and that's something that the ambassador talk about. But you can't just, jump here and there, going so well because maybe you are the superpower and you want to show that power to the world. I think that is wrong.
exactly, and Liberia's statement on the entire Venezuela issue is something that they didn't expect it, in the sense that more often we would say that America is one country that, gave us independent or colonized, or which is something that typically needs to be looked at. And if you read the history, you get to understand some great and deeper things, right? But again, in as much as we as Liberians believe that the US is our ally, is our goal, is our everything, I feel like the ambassador to the United Nations, Ambassador Brown, was more of saying things of reality and giving remedies as to how to solve these problems than to just siding with the US. Because if this was something to side with the US, or
and that was what many people have expected. They feel that because Liberia have that bilateral relationship with the US, they feel that the way the ambassador would have spoke, it would be in the favor of the US, but it didn't go that way, and I admire that.
Yeah. So exactly, that is it, and we hope that the Venezuela situation, which is something we're looking at thoroughly, can be handled with care, and the U.S. interference could not be something that would bring serious minor security situations to the country. And we hope that the Security Council of the United Nations, they say United Nations, which are nations that should come together under one umbrella, should be able to handle the entire situation with care. But I know President Trump, that president who is always wanting to do what is right and what he knows best that is right for him and the people of America.
Sure.
Another thing I wanted us to look at, James, is a trending video of the DA, and is so disgusting, humiliating a lady in the video, and there's a lot of statement coming in from the DA on that video, disregarding the officers. They So let me see if I can bring let me see if I can bring that, and let me see if I can bring that video. For me, I basically don't want to I don't want to go with the entire release they came up with, and just by watching the video, I've read all of their releases about this video. I feel like, James, if you are opportune to, I just want to say a little, then you can comment on that video, right? And whatever the
Okay.
D is. But if you have been opportune, I don't know about other places, but for Monrovia, I feel like the entire security force needs some level of great trainings in terms of professionalism. And I feel like
Mm-hmm.
it should come a time where, if you want to become a security personnel, whether the DA, the immigration, you should have some level of experience and degree in criminal justice. In that sense, I feel like it would give you a broad understanding of the law and how to be very professional as you carry on your duties. You cannot carry on such an act recording a female. She's a lady. That's the first thing. We all understand that we should treat these people like the way we treat our kids. You cannot treat a lady as compared to a male. Even if this was a male, it's drugs now. She didn't kill. You know how many people who we've followed their cases around here, and at the end of the day, we don't know where they are in terms of they seeing drugs cases. They've managed to bring in drugs through other countries and reach to our eye only because this DA got hinted and maybe didn't allege they got what they wanted, try to catch these people and parade it all around, and we can no longer see them. I feel like our security are not professional to the extent that if you're a professional person, these guys will be very unprofessional. You as a journalist go to carry out your duties, they don't care. They go to the extent of assaulting you. They want more of an ordinary person. We all are Liberians. We have right and privilege. This is our country. In as much as a person commit a crime, that doesn't mean that you should treat them like a slave. We're no longer in a slave day. Humiliating and assaulting a female on the video, I feel like these guys don't even need investigation. The video shows how very unprofessional they are. They needs to be dismissed and forwarded to court. And if I'm that lady's family, will press serious charges against them, and they will pay a huge sum of money for what they did. I'm being real. We all agree that we are fighting drugs, which is something we totally against. And she looks like probably not the one who even able to bring in the substance in this country, but maybe someone who you caught taking in the substance. I feel like if I am to become somebody to handle situations of such, I feel like these kind of people do not need to be squeezed or treated thoroughly as compared to people that are bringing in the drugs in our country. The DEA knows these guys. I'm being real to you, James. They knows these guys who bring in these things. They got the DEA's guys' number. The bigger hands in the DEA's. They got their number.
Sure. I think, like you said, we need some level of training for our security apparatus, most especially the police and the LDA, let's say the immigration, all of these guys. I think we need some level of training. Like I has been able to watch series of uh incident where the guys have gone to make an arrest and then they keep assaulting people, which is totally wrong. Now, if you go, there are a few things that a police officer they are not to do. A police officer is not allowed or should not assault anyone, no matter the degree of arrest they have gone for, because that person who you have gone for could just the person is not found guilty yet. They haven't gone to court and been found guilty. So you can assault the person. In fact, even if the person is guilty, the human right law by the human right law will not provide you beating the person or maybe insulting the person. No, as a police officer, you are not to do that. But on serious occasions, you see our police officer will go maybe to make an arrest, and you will see them, in fact, insulting, the different, cause and all of that, which is totally wrong. That in fact shows that the guys, I don't know which type of training they go through. I don't know, because at the police academy, I don't know, they focus more on other things, or they are just focused on somebody going and take pusher or maybe some a Ramadan training, and that's all to it. But I think the guy need to go beyond knowing some of the laws, like you said. They maybe they should spend something around 6 months or something, maybe just reading, portion of the law to knowing what they have to do as a police officer and what they are not to do. Because just the physical stuff and thing, I don't think it has helped us, right? That is why you see most of the time you see that these officers will always be in the error. They will always, misbehave when they go on some of these operations. Now, the lady in question, the guys have gone. I don't know if she's the one who had the drugs in her possession or whatever, but they never had no right to, beat on the woman. In fact, the other guy was insulting the woman, which is totally wrong. And I'm glad that the LDA,
drugs user.
yeah, she's a user. So these people are victims. In fact, they are victims. So they should be treated with care. No, somebody will not want to believe of that, but these people are victims. They are not the one who are bringing the drugs in the country. So they are there. They only consume the drugs. So when people bring in the country, they go and then the little money that they will have, they go and purchase these drugs and take it in. They become victims of the drugs. So how can we now, go around getting these people? I've told somebody many times, the issue about raiding ghettos and going here and there, my brother, is not going to stop the fight against drugs. To be real with you, you can raid all of the ghetto today in Liberia. The next 1 or 2 months, there will still be ghetto in Liberia. We have seen too many raiding of ghettos. Some of our numbers, raiding of ghettos on a nationwide level, whatever, county-wide. By the end of the day, it has not changed the narrative. It has not changed nothing when it comes to the fight against drugs. And let's be real with it. So we appreciate the LDA. Yes, they are doing well when it comes to the fight against drugs. They are really doing well. But to go on to start assaulting people, insulting people on the street, because they are being alleged, or maybe having, being in possession of a drug. I think that is totally wrong. The LDA, I'm glad that they have been able to. I'm told they disrobed these two guys in the video. They disrobed them of their position, and they are pending investigation. I think that was quite prudent enough from the LDA on angle, but the guys need some level of training. They need some level of training so that the guys will not be disgracing our security. Imagine on a live video, you find our security apparatus or sometimes insulting. In fact, some of them will go on fighting people, like the other guy the last time. A police officer going to lay down on somebody's vehicle and all of that. That is a total disgrace to our country. People will not see it that way, but it's a total disgrace, because it means that the guys, they are not going through some level of training. They are not being trained well before being placed in the public to carry on operations, which is totally bad for us. So the drugs fight in this country, the last time I heard people talking about, the drug law, thank God, the drug law is non-biddable. I have said this without time, without numbers, that the drug law in Liberia is still biddable, because for one fact, you still have a portion of the law where when somebody is being arrested with, let's say, 2,000 worth of drugs, USD, the man can go and pay 2 times of that money and they will release him. I challenge any LDA officer to tell me that the drug law in this country is non-biddable. It's biddable. And that's the deception that I see from the angle of the legislature. The guys have lied to us, time of our numbers, and they are not doing nothing to even change some of those things. And today you will say, yeah, let's chase behind the victim of the drugs. You will run behind them, go and destroy ghettos and all of that. It's not changing anything, because this is a law this is a law where you guys have passed and say the law is non-biddable. But today, somebody will be arrested with 2,000 worth of drugs. The man go and pay 4,000. You release the man. Is it not biddable? It's biddable. For me, that is a complete deception from the angle of the legislature. I don't know, it was somewhere around, I think 2023, right? When they passed the drug law saying that it's non-biddable and this, that. That was a complete deception. Up to now, I don't know how far the guys are thinking to amend some of those laws so that it can also help to fight drugs. But if that cannot happen, my brother, the fight against drugs will remain the same, and we'll continue to see all of these things happening. So they'll continue chasing behind people who are not even, who should not be chased behind, and leaving the real target. Those that are sitting at the top there, they will leave there and then start running behind people in the corners in the rural community. It will not help to change anything. The LDA, yes, they are doing well. We appreciate them. But to go to the far by assaulting people or insulting people, for me, I see it as a total, disgrace to the LDA. And I think the ORC, who is in charge now, they need to, sometimes just have a 1 week training, brush the guy up. Maybe some of them may are forgetting on some of the things that they have gone through. And I think that will help.
Okay, James. And basically, we like we've said, and we will always say, right? These guys from the DA needs to do better, and there's absolutely nothing that we wanna see from these guys but the best, because like, if you continue to speak about their level of unprofessionalism they carry out doing their duties, they say, oh, you're against us, and maybe someone have paid you to run cheap propaganda against them, which is something that is not true. You got to be a very professional person and be able to carry out your duties fairly. You got to treat every human equally, despite of race, class, tradition, and everything. You cannot treat somebody as if to say they are a slave only because they are prey to using drugs. Liberia needs to do better, especially for our security. I'm telling you, these guys are very, very unprofessional. When I say, some of my colleagues be like, "Mama, oh, don't say anything." At least the man try. One of my colleagues can be like, "The man, you can compare the past 3 years." Like, bro, we're not comparing anything. We need these guys to do better. It's
Of
not
course.
just us as journalists. Do you know how many journalists they have flocked just for the police officer being reckless? James, we are talking about these officers. I'm telling you that sometimes if you even give your ID card to these guys, they don't even know how to read on it to distinguish you from an ordinary citizen.
Of course.
I was wondering the other day, I was like, how did you join the police? That you asked me to identify myself. And I did. Then you asked me, who am I? Read the ID card, my brother. Yeah. So frustrating. So frustrating. In other countries, you see officers doing, their BSc in law or in criminal justice or something, and they goes to the police academy. Even if you don't want to, you have to get some great level of education. A sense of reasoning, your sense of thinking should be as fast as anything. Yeah, but all we can say to the DA is to be professional, not to only take certain cases so personal and not being so professional with your job. I'm being very disappointed in these guys. Very, very disappointed. Treating a female in that manner, so very disappointing. Yes, so James, let's just conclude on our 2 discussion points from your end before we call this a day.
Yeah, so I think like we have said a lot here tonight, and Liberia, and those of you that are following, I know some of you may have some of the good point to make as well. And we appreciate the fact that you are also listening and be that person who will also help to make that level of change in your community where you are, because mind you, there's a burden that should on all of us as people, right? I always tell people that it's not only what the country can do for us. That a lot of times some of us will sit in our rural corners and we just talk shit, blame on the government. But again, we are not playing our own role as citizens, right? So that responsibility is on us as citizens to play our part in shaping our country in a better way that we want it. So the issue of the LDA again was it for the fact that the guys need to be a professional. That is what is expected of them, because if they do so, I think it's going to help our country. Because if you go for an arrest and then begin to assault people or insult people, what does what portray out there to the international community or other neighboring countries around us? They're going to see us like we are jokers. We just totally wrong. The fight against drug is everyone business, and everyone got to get him on text. The guys at the LDA, we acknowledge the fact that you guys are doing well, but you cannot do it on your own. If you now want to go on by assaulting peaceful, I mean, not citizens now. I don't want to say peaceful citizens, but if you want to go and start to assault citizens out there or insult citizens, then you're going to get it wrong. Because if the citizen is turned against you, how will you fight the issue of drugs? Because the citizen have to join you, in fighting drugs. But if you go in now, people that are already victim of the issue of drug, you want to go and start assaulting them. That is totally wrong and unprofessional. We want to appreciate the ORC at the LDA who is doing tremendous well there. We hope that the guys will pull in more time now and work on other issues there to, making the LDA to perform to the task that every Liberia wanted to be. On the issue that have to do with the Venezuela issue, yes, Liberia again, like we said, they have a role to play in voicing out for African nations, not just Africa alone, but other countries around the world, sitting at the non-permanent position at the United Nations. It means there is this burden on the shoulder of Liberia that we now need to stand in that gap to push for other countries that are faced with other security issues. So, Williams, again, let me say many thanks to all of our people that have been watching and also making their little comments. We are grateful to you and we hope that Thursday at 10 o'clock again, you're going to be here so that we're all together because we may not be the perfect people, right? But at least our little contribution and yours as well can help to shape our country. Thank you so much, Williams.
Yeah, we also working on things that we can have people trying to call us on WhatsApp to be able to
Yeah,
make
I
their
think
own
that will be good.
contribution. So yeah, so
Sure.
we working on that, and we will start to announce numbers very soon on the show. This is a new year. We want to do everything different, and we want our people to have their own input on the program. But
Sure. I
thanks for
think
coming
that
on.
is going to be good.
Yeah, thanks for coming on,
Yeah.
James, and we're hoping to have you on again on Thursday, beginning at 10 p.m. Liberia time. So, for Liberia on the Venezuela situation, I think it was a smart move from the ambassador to the United Nations Security Council and the government in general of Liberia with such a smart statement. And I feel that our country Liberia is getting at a point that we all will start to count on the level of progress being made and the level of global. This will not be the first time for Liberia, and this is not even going to be the second time for Liberia in making some level of great impact on the global stage. We all know that Liberia joined the United Nations for the establishment of the UN, the establishment of ECOWAS, and the African Union as well. So we like to say thanks to all of our followers and also to the DA. You guys are doing extremely well. We hope and pray that you guys can continue the level of effort and work putting to be able to show that our people, our young people, are doing away from drugs. So thanks so much to everyone for coming on. There was some level of feedback. Thanks so much to everyone for coming on and for watching us on the program. This has been the round table, and I've been here with my friend and brother James Aku talking about Liberia's position on the Venezuela situation, and also Liberia is doing very well in terms of global peace, security, and a lot more. So thanks again for tonight, and we're working on ways that we all can be able to come on here and be able to share our thoughts on our daily events. My name is William McGill. Do have a great night, and thanks to everyone for coming on. So LeBron, Abraham K. Swan says, watching and following from a Chicken Soup Factory golf community. What is the talking point tonight? LeBron James from Painesville says, I'm following from Painesville City. And Suri Sotrin Kaba says, great job. Jamin Nuchsa says, good job. Emmanuel Gablije Chelsea to sales. I'm following the show, and thanks so much to my friend and brother James Aku for coming on tonight. Thanks for following us, and it has been a great time. My name is William McGill. We'll be on here Thursday, beginning at 10 p.m. Liberia time, or better still, 5 p.m. the US time. Bye bye.